let's bring in Marcellus Wiley, the former NFL All-Pro defensive end. Of course, his podcast, More to It. You can listen to it, danpatrick.com, or wherever you get your podcast. Let me start there. We're, 8 weeks away from the first playoff game, which is plenty of time, you would think, if you do bring in OBJ. Is he worth all of the coverage that he's received?
Absolutely. You got to think about Odell Beckham Jr. in several ways. One is just the production you expect from Odell Beckham Jr., which will be a third receiver, maybe even number 2 receiver on your roster. So that's positive. But what people are not really respecting is in football, there are teams. There have been a dynasty with the New England Patriots where the team's talent level, they play greater than the sum of its parts. Like you can look at it in terms of production and talent, and then there's another X factor that makes that team play above their heads. With Odell Beckham Jr., adding him to a roster, all of a sudden you have a roster that may have X amount of talent, but guess what they're going to now have? An X factor, because he is electric. He is juice. Guys believe in him, and there's nothing we can say in the outside media that's going to change the minds of those players who are calling him, who are texting him, and who believe in him, because we all have played the game of football in the NFL, and we all have not touched the heights he has. And that superstardom translates in a locker room. He still has impact.
Okay, but give me the downside of bringing him in now, considering you are one of the elite teams in the NFC. Is there a downside?
There's a downside personally to Odell Beckham and his brand and his future going forward, because last time we saw him, it was coming from Cleveland, and we had our doubts. And he answered all those doubts by going to the Rams and changing their team, their dynamic, and almost winning the Super Bowl MVP if he could have stayed healthy. So now we're right back where we were when he left Cleveland. We're doubting him again. If he comes back and fails in this moment, this is going to land on Odell. But the team that takes the chance on Odell, it's a smart roll of the dice, because there's nothing he can do to your team to sabotage it, because Odell's already been through that in terms of kicking the net with the Giants and the White Flower in London and et cetera. So he's not coming to disrupt your program. Only this can go wrong for Odell, the player.
This just in, during a team meeting minutes ago, the Jets players were informed that Zach Wilson is not starting against the Chicago Bears. I started the show by saying I would not tread lightly and worry about his feelings by benching him. I can't lose that locker room, Marcellus. You've been in that locker room, and I can't treat one guy differently who hasn't earned to be, that right to be treated differently. What do you think of this move?
Yeah, I'm with the move. Zach Wilson did it to himself in 2 ways, obviously by his performance and performances. Like, he had a resume of bad performances enough to make them even be in this position. But when you come out and they ask you, did you let down your defense? Did you disappoint your defense in that futile effort? And you say no. Oh, you lost everybody, because now you have put the coach, you have put management in a position to answer that question correctly. And everyone knows you did, and it was a chance for him to own it. And then the mercy rule kicks in. You know how it goes when you're playing the dozens with your friends, or you're in a position where you're going to get called out. If you do the 8 Mile, if you talk about yourself first, then they're going to be nicer to you in response to talking about your production, your effort. But what he did was act like, hey, I'm exempt from all the ills from that performance. That is a team effort. And guys are looking at him like, dude, we did our part. You didn't do your part. So since he didn't own up to that, they had to go out there and make sure he's not the starter.
Yeah, I can't lose the locker room because of one guy. And if he's that sensitive to criticism and I'm going to bench him, I've heard analysts say, oh, you can't do it, you might lose him. Well, if I lose him over this, then am I really losing him?
No, that's good math. Like, I don't know what school everyone went to, but, I'd rather lose 1 than 52. It's just that simple. 52 guys are sitting there looking at him. Everything he says is starting to sound Charlie Brown, womp, 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 because we're not listening to Zach Wilson anymore. And he's certainly not going to lead us consistently with his production. So it's like, now, hey, coach, do the easy thing. It's not even a hard decision. Listen to your players' inner voice and now express that to the team. I
want to run down the Hall of Fame list, the class of 2023. So it's just yes or no. Okay?
All right. I get 5 in total. Are we doing this or just yes or no?
Just yes or no.
Okay.
Eric Allen.
No.
Jared Allen.
Yes.
Willie Anderson.
Yes.
Rondé Barber.
No.
Ooh.
I know. That's tough. I know.
Anquan Bolden.
No.
Henry Ellard.
No.
London Fletcher.
Yes. Surprisingly.
Dwight Freeney.
Oh, hell yeah. Stop playing.
James Harrison.
Yes.
Rodney Harrison.
No. Golly, that hurt.
Devin Hester.
Yes.
It's a good thing we don't have just 5 for you.
And that's the toughest part about it all, Dan. It's like they all qualify to some degree
Yes.
to be in the conversation, but then you got to just be almost mean.
Yes.
You almost got to like disrespect to get them in because everybody can't be a Hall of Famer.
But go back to Rodney Harrison. How much does this have to do with testing positive for PEDs?
Ooh, wow, you went there first. I went to San Diego first, and the lack of Pro Bowls, the lack of team success, despite them still going to one Super Bowl. I remember when I became a Charger, and that was the story about Rodney. Great player, but not fully respected or fully understood from the world at large. Like football players are like, yo, he's a beast. And then everybody else is like, yeah, if he's a beast, why doesn't he have A, B, C? So I always knew that would come back to haunt him. But of course, the PEDs, you know how I feel about that. Once you're on the PEDs, you should be on the baseball list in terms of being in the Hall of Fame.
But Rodney, one of 2 players in the history of the game with at least 30 sacks and 30 interceptions?
Yeah, I wonder how many he would have had without the PEDs.
Oh,
yeah, but I get it. Like you're still a great player. I just don't know how much the nitrous helped you. And since I don't know that answer, I guess can't be the guy in position to gift you a Hall of Fame candidacy.
But then we can't put Antonio Gates in there if he's denied it, but he got suspended.
Yeah, hey, Gates, Rodney, you got a little Charger section over there, the PED guys. Like, just put them all over there. I love all those guys, but can't do it.
Torrey Holt.
The closest no I have, like almost a yes.
Andre Johnson.
Yes.
Albert Lewis.
No.
Robert Mathis.
No. Close.
Ooh,
close.
Darrell,
look, you can't put everybody in there. Let's go.
Darrell Revis.
Yes.
Steve Smith Sr.
I thought I had the closest no to yes. He's really winning by every time you talk to him or listen to him broadcast is help. But I would have to say no, my Hall of Fame, no.
Fred Taylor.
That's my boy. He was a monster he got so underappreciated. You want to put him in just to get his flowers. Let me just say yes. I got to throw one in there. Yes.
Joe Thomas.
Hell yeah. By far the easiest yes. Yes.
Zach Thomas.
Yes. But the second easiest yes. That dude was silly.
Hines Ward.
No.
Ooh.
Look at you. Your whole NBC family. You're like,
I know. You don't like anybody on there. Chris Collins. No, I would just. DeMarcus Ware.
Yes.
Ricky Waters.
No.
Reggie Wayne. No. Okay.
No. Close.
Vince Wilfork.
Yeah.
Really?
It's hard to measure what he had to do. It's hard to quantify it.
Okay.
That's the problem.
Patrick Willis.
Oh, yes. My God. Quick, too. He did it fast.
Darren Woodson.
Yes.
No. The wait was too long there.
It was long because Rodney Harrison was just in my ear like, dude, you're going to let Darren Wilson in and not me. But Darren anchored some amazing teams on top of being an amazing player.
All right. What do you expect to happen in these Thanksgiving? Like the biggest surprise is going to be where in these 3 games?
Let's stay with the Giants and Dallas. One, what a matchup. A lot of times that Turkey Bowl matchup with the Dallas Cowboys, you're just sitting there in your food coma. But this one you're going to be alert for. The biggest surprise is going to be that Dallas is going to have to respond to their own greatness. The biggest response is going to be that they will. We saw Minnesota go to Buffalo, just beat Buffalo, come back, get destroyed by Dallas. You're like, where's your response? Dallas goes to Minnesota and smokes them. And now we're saying, where's your response? I think we're actually going to see it, which is going to be surprising to many people because we always question the maturity of the Dallas Cowboys, not their talent. I think they respond.
And when you listen to the podcast, we're talking to Marcellus Wiley. It's called More to It on the Dan Patrick Podcast Network. Not only talking football, but you also talk the real reasons why Kyrie Irving apologized.
Yes. I'm talking about, I learned this from my therapist / my wife. I'm 45 years young at the time, so I lived the entire life with the old school model of apologizing. You only apologize when you're wrong. If you did something wrong, say you're sorry, move on. And then I got enlightened to the second level of why you apologize. It's when you hurt someone and they felt slighted. No matter what your intentions were, no matter if you were right or wrong. And it was a different level of understanding for me, epiphany. So Kyrie Irving, who claims, who says, who professes, he cares about humanity. He cares about the human race. He cares about all. Not a right or wrong conversation to apologize. The old model, the new model, they felt slighted. So now you, fully matured, have to come to that realization. I need to apologize. Not because you did something wrong exactly, but because they felt slighted.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and the family, and proud to have you on the program and the podcast network, Marcellus.
Appreciate it, man. I'll see you 5 pounds bigger next week. Let's do it.
Marcellus Wiley, the former NFL All-Pro defensive end, and his podcast entitled More to It.